What's up, everybody? Rob J. Speck, the host here, and I'm happy to introduce another episode of Split Decisions with the dudes, Ricky and Sean. My guys, how you guys doing?
Living life, man. Living life. Episode 11. Freaking excited. I can't believe we've been doing this for this long already. Like, we're coming up on 3 months now. If my second grade math is still correct, that's fucking time's flying, dude. Can't believe it.
Time is flying, bro. It is. Time's just going by week by week. This is stacking up. Sean, how you feeling? Week 11, bro.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Enjoying it. I mean, told you guys this morning, it might be getting weird to this point. I'm seeing you guys so often that I'm having you guys pop up in my dreams. But, it's another week. I'm here. Rob J. Speck, the host. I'm Sean, Ricky, Rob. I'm getting lost, guys. I'm getting lost. So we're here again.
We're here again, and it's understandable, bro. I mean, look at Ricky so much, and how can you not think about him? But hey, that's the thing that's going on, right? Looking and thinking, thinking and wondering, where am I going with this? Well, the biggest fallout in a long time, the biggest cancellation in a long time, which leads into the biggest what the fuck is going on here of all time, maybe Iron Michael Chandler and his dubious situation that he's in, precarious situation. The question at hand is he rusting away or keeping his eye on the prize? Because let's think about this. He could easily have fallen out, taking another fight, but he is applying some serious stick-to-itiveness, if that's a word, right? I think that's a word. He's gunning on this. He's not taking his eyes off of this. He smells the possibility, and he seems unwavering. But on the other side of it, he does seem bummed out, announcing that he will be attending UFC 303, the event that he was supposed to headline, the event that all the glory was on him. Now he's just there watching the thing that is not his anymore, and nothing's happening about him. It's kind of weird. Guys, I'm going to say it. I'm going to be the guy that says it. Is the UFC cucking Iron Mike at UFC 303?
I think he's cucking himself. I saw the tweet that you were mentioning where he was talking about, I'm going to be there at 303 because it was my card and I signed a contract to show up for 303, so I'm still going to do it. Listen, I don't dislike Michael Chandler at all. I think he's cool. I think he's great. I love watching him fight. Win or lose, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a crazy, intense fight, and that's what we love from fighters. But it was never your card, buddy. I'm sorry. Like, as much as I appreciate you, I love the attitude. I love the mentality. It was never your card. How do we know it wasn't your card? Well, if the roles were reversed, Conor would still be fighting somebody. Whoever was willing to take the bag, my best guess is probably be the craziest person to take a short notice fight like that with a giant bag that he deserves is Max Holloway. If the roles were reversed, Max Holloway would step up and we'd have Conor versus Holloway, and no one would give a flying F about Michael Chandler not being in UFC 303. So it wasn't your card. It was always Conor's card. And the reason is because when Conor pulled out, you pulled out. You decided that you were going to be on the card. They could have found a replacement. You could have decided to fight on your card, as you're saying, and you chose not to. So it was Conor's card. Now it's Poeton's card. Unfortunately, that's the case for Michael Chandler. Listen, I'm not saying that his decision right now is a wrong decision to stay out and say, hey, I just want that Conor fight, because you never know. If you go in there and you fight and something happens, an injury, or you get beat up pretty badly, whoever the replacement would have been, you don't know if you still get that Conor fight. So maybe in Chandler's mind, he's thinking, hey, that Conor fight, I don't know what Chandler's making. I don't know what they're promising, what they're paying him for that Conor fight, but I'm assuming it's a lot. I'm assuming that it's more than like his last 2 or 3 fights combined for him to say, no, I just want that Conor fight. I'm cool waiting. That's not a bad decision. All I'm saying is you're replaceable when it comes to Conor, and he knows that. That's why he's waiting.
Yeah, there's no doubts. There's no doubts that Chandler is the B side, the replaceable side, the plug and play side of this spectacular event that would have been happening, maybe could have been at UFC 303. Sean, I know you got a lot of thoughts about everything that just said, but I'm gonna point the same question I gave to Ricky at you. is the UFC cucking Iron Mike by having him there watching the event but not being part of it?
I want to say Ricky hit the nail on the head with a lot of the things that he said. He killed it, ran through a bunch of the stuff, and he also killed it by saying that Chandler is cucking himself. There's no way that you can just sit around, dude. First of all, a cuck, you can't have anybody else cuck you. Like, you got to be the one who sits in the corner, bro. You got to put yourself in the corner. He's been putting himself in the corner. I don't know anything about this. I just heard about this. Listen, he's
Let me see your
cuck.
search history, buddy.
He's listen, dude. His search history is just looking up Connor right now. He's just trying to, like, all he's doing is looking up Connor. What's going on? Like, I mean, the guy is obsessed. It's like everything is mentioning Connor. It's like he's chasing this nonstop. For what reason? I guess it's the payday. I guess it's the irreplaceable. I mean, I guess it's the replaceability of him, where he's the guy who can get changed back in. It's not your card, Mike. But hey, watch out, everybody. It's not Potan. It's not fucking Yuri. Michael Chandler is going to be in attendance, and you guys better bow down to the fucking king, because 303 is his card. International Fight Week is International Iron Chandler Fight Week. The guy's not going to do anything, though. He's going to sit in the crowd, be cucked, because that's what we're talking about. King cuck right now. So I feel bad for the guy, but it is what it is. I do feel bad for the guy, but, like, for real, like, we're talking about he's King cuck. Like, seriously, it's sad.
It is damn, bro, that was fire. I love it. I'm gonna jump in and say, yeah, dude, I'm gonna jump in with you, and it's getting kind of sad at this point. It's getting a little like, damn, dog. Like, that's the sentence that comes to my mind. Like, honestly, damn, dog. Like, I don't really have much else to give to Mike at this point. Like, bro, you've shown every ounce of professionalism. You've shown every ounce of, like, nah, I'm focused here. Like, I okay, enjoy the circus. I'm focused here. My fight's in front of me. My fight's in front of me. And to have it so close and yet so far, that has got to be a twist on the heart, bro. I don't care who you are, but I get it, man. Hey, he's more famous from this than ever before. Like, you got to really think, like, win, lose, or draw, the fame level of Michael Chandler is far higher than it's ever been. And that's a good question that both you guys presented, is like, how much is this Brada making on this fight? Like you said, it's got to be worth.
It's got to be
worth, Brad. It's got to be worth more than 3. It's got to be like 5, 6 fights. Like, it's got to be something ridiculous that you would. To me, he seems
dude,
too. Yeah, go.
I feel bad for, like, shitting on the guy, because, to be honest with you, he is pretty likable. I feel like a lot of the grief he gets for his personality and stuff is pretty, I guess, undeserved. He's just a dude who seems overly motivated and like the gym class hero type of guy. But hey, fuck it. It is what it is. You can hate him for that, but honestly, there's really not much besides that to hate. It is seeming, though, to this point where it's like, dude, you're kind of embarrassing yourself. You're going out there doing, like, just stay off social media. Do something. I don't know. It's weird. I'm hoping the paychecks that he's just getting from keeping his name around this idea are good enough in general, like these TV appearances or things like that. Or I see him promoting his tequila now. Like, he's like, oh, I'm back on hiatus. Like, what?
Right.
Like, so he's drinking.
Oh, he's got a tequila, because all I knew about him was his popcorn. I was like, I hope everybody eats that popcorn, bro. It's delicious.
I didn't even know he had a popcorn.
Oh my gosh! All right,
I only knew he had a tequila. So
can we add this in? Hey, we'll use later post production. Add the promo Kudo protein popcorn. It's actually delicious. It's a great snack. There you go. Like, the guy, like you said, Sean. Think about that. What I just said. I promoted his first product, popcorn, protein popcorn. That is exactly what you just said. Gym class hero. Like, let's take your vitamin and say your prayers, Hulk Hogan type shit. I get it. You know,
I'm just gonna, right now, I don't feel bad for him. Like, it is what it is, man. If you want to wait for him, like I said, the bag might be so big that he's not willing to risk it. But I will feel bad if it just never happens. And there's a good chance it may never happen. And what happened, like, if Connor pulls out again, and if that fight just gets to a point where it's like, hey, he's not gonna fight, it's off. how many years are you willing to let slip away? And then when you come back, who's it against? How old are you? Where are you at now? You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
so
let me just
it's a
say he's
risk
38
regardless.
years old right now,
Well,
brother.
I
That's
was
what I'm
just
saying.
about.
It's a risk no matter what. Whether you want to risk fighting, like whether you want to risk the Connor fight, and that's why you don't want to take a fight now. That's a risk. But the other risk is not taking fights now, and the Connor fight never taking place. So right now, Michael Chandler has to have that sense of like anxiety of what do I do? Do I take fights? Do I not take fights? Do I wait for the Connor card? Can I trust that I'm gonna fight Connor? Like for now, like he's got to be going through a lot of shit. So as of right now, I don't feel bad for him. But if that Connor fight never goes through, I am gonna feel bad for him, man, to play that game with him. Kind of like that old commercial with the old man and the fishing rod when he's like, "Oh, you gotta be quicker than that." Like that's what Connor's doing to Michael Chandler right now, just kind of toying with him.
But exactly what you're saying, dude. Toying with him, feeling bad, his age, where he's at, like what you're saying right now, Sean. Like what you're saying exactly. Brother's 38. You do not have the time to fuck off time at this point of athletics. You got a lot of life to live, a lot of great things to come to. But talking about specifically of athletics, this is the absolute worst years to be burning. Like you could have fucked off at 28 better off than doing this. Like so anyways, yeah, man, good luck to Chandler.
I would only say like the only upside to it is it's not like he's turning down title fights or title contention fights, right? Chandler, if I'm not mistaken, is what 1-3, 1-4 in the UFC, something like that. So it's not like he's a title contender and like, oh, he could be a reigning champion if he chose to not wait for Connor. Like I think Connor's kind of his only pick, right? He's not getting a Dustin fight again. He's not fighting for the belt. Charles beat him. Like there's really nothing else for him. He already fought the top of the top, and he lost to all of them. You know, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. And that's maybe that's what he's seeing, right? Like
As a fire in your house, Sean.
Hey, fireman.
Put the fire out. Dog.
Yeah, so totally distracted.
You gotta give Sean a countdown whenever you're coming back to the
yeah, at 3, 2, 1, Sean.
You're gonna come back. What time he's gonna be like?
Classic. Yeah, but that's it, right? Like, hey, you know what? We all want to see good things from Mike. We don't really want to see this, but like you said, he's at a position where he's not really in chasing the title, and he's probably going to make way more than he would ever make. I get where he's at, but at the same time, like time is precious, opportunity is precious, and you really wouldn't know who cares if it's I don't want to be this guy, but like who cares if it's not a world title? Like your name being on the marquee or co-main event or main event of a big event, like money's money. I don't know. Maybe that's just my take on that. But all right, we'll moving on from now. But before I can go any further, I have to mention the awesome AllStar Sports app. Yes, fully customizable, no ads, no BS, exclusive MMA content, and enjoy sports information from all over the globe. Download it now, available in all your Play stores. All right, so from one guy that can't get a fight, he's ready for a fight, hungry for a fight, desperate, salivating for a fight, just doggedly pursuing a fight. I don't know how many other ways I could present that. We have this other man from the other side of the planet. His name, Khamzat Chimaev. And the question I'm presenting to the fellas here is, Khamzat Chimaev, dude, what the hell, bro? And that I think sums it up. I think because we're talking about a guy once, we said now we're on a different guy, and this guy, he's supposed to do a fight. It's all set up for a fight. It's everything set up for his fights every single time. There's no like missing puzzle piece except him. He's the missing puzzle piece every single time. Guys, who wants this first? Who wants to tackle the Chimaev? Sean put his hands up. He was ready. There you go, Sean. Khamzat Chimaev, dude. What the hell, bro?
What the hell? That's the real question, right? Like this guy went from chasing fights week to week, like didn't want to leave the octagon to like we never see this guy anymore. Then you're hearing he can't come to America anymore, right? Then you're hearing when he, I guess, take it back a step, right? He can't make weight for fights. We go further, then he can't come to America anymore. We go further than that, he's having illness problems. We go further than that, like he's at this stage where it's like we're about to see him back in the octagon in a place where it's like one of the only few places we know of, like I guess the rumor is that he can fight is like Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia. Maybe there's a couple other places that we know he can fight right now. The word is he can't come to America. So now we're getting that slim, rare chance we get to see Khamzat fight. He's on this card, and what happens? Another illness. What's this illness? Everybody's like, oh my God, this guy's dying. All these rumors are coming out about this stuff. They're like, he's going to retire. Holy shit, Khamzat's going to retire. And like, oh, I'm like, no, this is terrible. I kind of like Khamzat. And then I look into it, he has food poisoning. I'm thinking like, food poisoning? Like, it's not even like, I guess it was the beginning of this week. I get it, right? But like, maybe have a backup on notice. Tell the UFC, hey, maybe get a guy out here or whatever, last chance scenario. But I'm gonna still try to fight. But like, from a guy who went from being a dog to wanting to fight all the time, and it's crazy. I mean, I know he's fighting a hard opponent too, but it's sad to see that all of these situations are happening to Khamzat, a really big prospect, a really big star. I'm not saying he's not young anymore. He still is young. Still has a lot of time ahead of him. But it's just like so many obstacles and so many variables popped up where it's like, I've heard the rumor go around and all the kids say, hey, and I guess I'm a kid too, kind of. I'm a little bit older than that, but like I can tap in with the younger generation. They're always like aura. Yeah, Khamzat's kind of losing his aura a little bit. Like when you don't see somebody that often, see him pop in and do his things that he's regularly known for, I guess you get kind of forgotten in this sport when things happen on a week to week basis.
Absolutely.
It's a little disappointing for Khamzat too, just because he's not. And I saw you pose this question earlier, Rob, which I think was a great question to pose on Twitter, which is what if Khamzat's a bust, if you consider him a bust. And the reason I'm so disappointed is because to me, Khamzat isn't a bust at all. To me, a bust is when you have a lot of hype and you have a lot of talk around your name and you can't back it up. It doesn't show, right? Your performance doesn't back up the hype that you're getting. To me, a guy who's closer to a bust is someone maybe like a Paddy Pimblett, where it's so much popularity, it's so much hype, and then you see him in there and you're like, he's all right. You know, for Khamzat, it's like, hey, man, did he go out there and knock out Kamaru or Gilbert Burns? No, but those are two very, very difficult opponents to beat, and he beat both of them. So he's had those tests already, and he's won. He's already passed those tests. So to me, he's not a bust, which is why it's even more disappointing, because the UFC is pushing this guy. Right? They want him in a title fight. They want him in that title picture, especially at 185 right now, to really mix up. We always talk about 185 also being that, like, how many times are we going to see Izzy rematch somebody? They really want Khamzat to be in that picture. So for him to have to pull out of this fight, it's just even more disappointing, because I do feel like he could be a champion, especially with certain matchups and his ability to get guys to the ground. I mean, say what you want, man. Gilbert Burns, that's not a guy that you just take down. Kamaru Usman is not a guy that you take down. So when he's out there wrestling those dudes around, somebody like Izzy, I can see where people look at someone like Izzy and go, hey, man, he's going to take Izzy down and submit him. You know what I mean? So because of those reasons, it's even more disappointing that we don't get this big build-up fight that would have really told us, you know, we said it earlier in the space, Robert Whittaker is the bar, right? He's the test. If you can beat Robert Whittaker, you're a championship level fighter. Plain and simple at that division. He's the guy. So Khamzat getting Robert Whittaker, it was like, yes, we know if Khamzat is going to be a champion or not, seeing what he does to Robert Whittaker. When he pulls out, it's just like, oh, man, it's so disappointing.
And I don't want to steal something from you, Rob, real quick, but this is just
steal
like,
it, bro. Steal it.
Right on top of it. Like I heard something just to bring up Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel's being hot, pushed by the UFC, big wrestler, American. I guess it's somebody you can kind of compare to Khamzat in the American form, right? Put it this way: 5 fights into his pro career, who's Bo Nickel fighting? I don't know, right? I can't exactly name the guy off the top of my head. Fairly low level. Maybe it was Brundage. But you go on the other side, who was Khamzat fighting? Ikram Aliskerov, right?
Yeah.
His 5th pro fight in his career, he was fighting Ikram Aliskerov, who's now fighting in his place. So if you think about it, Khamzat was fighting tough opponents. Khamzat's a high level person. It's not like people can take away from Khamzat. He's been fighting pretty high level from the time he's been in the pro. I know, like, a lot of times you get those weird rushing promotions where you get confused, but like honestly, you get like, who the fuck is this guy? But like this one where you're like, oh shit, Ikram, this name, and it's like, okay, like he's been facing legit opponents from the start, which is
he's a proven commodity, and that's what I'm saying. That's why it's even more disappointing, because he is proven already.
I feel like I need to clarify my question a little bit. I wasn't really calling Khamzat a bust, but thank you for bringing that up, dude. And I was asking the question in the format of more. I'm coming from the point of view of this. All right, he's already botched a pay-per-view card and killed the headline main event himself. Right, the
I forgot about that. Yeah,
that like already happened. Then he's pulled out of several significant fights that do have weight class implications, I guess. So when I'm talking about a bust, I totally see what you're saying, Ricky. Totally what you're saying, Sean. When I was saying that was more like from the asset. Can I really promote you? Can I treat you like an asset, or are you just a liability, or just someone on the roster that I'll throw up at random? Or
his stock value has definitely dipped 100%. 100% dipped.
Dude, that's what I'm getting to. And when I'm saying a bust, like, yeah, I'm not his fight quality as an athlete, but dude, if I can't book you as a promoter, fuck, and honestly,
let's not forget either that headlining card that you said where he missed weight for was a card where it was non-title fight. This is one of those rare UFC fights where it's like Khamzat versus Nate. It's no title on the line, just two big names. It rarely happens. We rarely see a non-title fight on the line for a card. So it just goes to show what the UFC was pushing to start with, and now where it's at to date.
That's it. That's it.
If he followed through on his end, he would have already had a title fight, which is crazy to think about. Like easily. The Nate fight, if he would have fought Nate and won, which I think, if you guys disagree with me, go ahead and tell me why. I think he would have mocked Nate. So that fight alone, I think, gives him a 170 title fight. I think that's what they were setting it up to, because like you said, nobody has a non-title fight as a main event and then not have a title fight next. Like, that was obviously going to happen, and he screwed himself there. And then he screwed himself again, and then all these illnesses. Listen, I don't know. I'm not there. I can't say. I did see somebody that I think was credible. I saw something that came out that was like, it's BS, that it wasn't food poisoning, that it was something else. But then again, it could be. I don't know. All I'm saying is, if this one situation, I'm not sure. So I have to kind of just say, hey, he got ill. It is what it is. But it's the fact that it's accumulating now. It's more and more situations, and the bigger issue is, like Rob said, where do we book you, man? What's your next fight? Because I can't have you headline. I can't make you headline another card. I don't know if you're going to come through or not. And the big key, one of the most significant kind of media clips from this is Dana White saying, I have no idea what's going on with Khamzat. That's a problem, right? We saw how quick Dana White was to correct everybody on the Conor situation, right? When everyone was saying, oh, Conor was pulling out because he wants to renegotiate. Oh, Conor is in rehab. Chill, son, and what the fuck are we doing? When everyone's saying all these things, Dana White was immediately the first person to get in the camera and say, no. Conor's hurt. He wants to be healthy. It's that simple. We know what's going on with Conor. We know the injury. We know everything that's going on. He's good. We're going to rebook it. Everything's fine. With Khamzat, complete opposite. I have no idea. I don't know what the illness is. I don't know who looked at him. We haven't seen him. He hasn't seen any of our doctors. We don't know. And when Dana White isn't in the know, you're going to screw yourself out of some big opportunities.
Absolutely. And like you said, Dana is quick to put out fires or redirect things if he has any ammo to shoot, and him not doing it, that just piles in more to the starting to look like not like an asset. And that's what I meant by a bust in that regard. But we'll find out soon. This is one of those things that the resolution is going to come out real soon, because the UFC's got to be feeling it. Everybody else around has got to be feeling it. His importance to the division is too critical. Like, everything's too important for us to not get the resolution of this pretty soon, whatever this may be. And last but not least, but most importantly, I think, since it is health, sincerely, Khamzat Chimaev, God bless you, dude. Like,
Yeah, get well
health is
soon.
wealth, man. That's not
For sure,
that ain't
for
nothing
sure.
to fuck around with.
Mhm.
All right, things that we were fucking around with, and then we're like, nah. Then it seems like other people are fucking around with it way more as time gets closer and gets more and more validity. What am I talking about? Nate versus Jorge. This is turning out to be bigger than we thought, at least more than I thought, more than these guys thought, more
Yeah.
than the initial expectations by the public was the vibe was not really there. There was not much. Then the fight happened last week, right? And if I know it's not 1-for-1, but man, people are starting to talk about this fight like it means something to them, or like they're into
Yeah.
it. Dude, what happened? Like, I don't even know if we can answer what happened, but Ricky or Sean, who else to tackle this one? Like, people
Well,
like this shit.
bro, I mean, in our spaces, right? Like you were saying, we were in our spaces and multiple people. I mean, there were people jumping into the spaces and they were like, oh, who do y'all got in the Nate and Jorge fight? What do you think's going to happen? I think Jorge's going to knock him out. Oh, man, I don't know. I think Nate's going to. I'm like, we're really that interested. I didn't think we were that interested because I think from our standpoint, or at least definitely I can speak for myself and say from my standpoint, I'm thinking about what the boxing match is going to look like. And that's what leaves me not as excited, right? That's what leads me to believe that it's going to be kind of a shit show just because we've seen what Nate Diaz looks like in a boxing match. And Jorge, we don't know what to expect from him, but I assume it's going to be pretty decent. These guys aren't high level boxers. They're not boxers. We know what it looks like when two guys that aren't boxers box each other, and especially when one of them is Nate Diaz, and we already saw him in a boxing match against Jake Paul, and it didn't look great. It didn't look great at all. So for us, I think we were disappointed because we were like, if we're gonna have that fight, let's have it in MMA, right? Let's have it in bare knuckle MMA, which Jorge Masvidal has. Like, that's what we would probably get more excited for. So I think the fact that it was boxing is what led us to initially believe that a lot of people were going to be like us and not be excited for it. But yeah, man, I'm really surprised on how many people are really in tune for this fight. And when we started having a bunch of people in the spaces talk about it, the first thing I thought of was, yeah, dude, this is a UFC marketed fight, meaning the people, the demographic for this fight are all UFC fans. And the first thing I thought of was like, yeah, no shit, a lot of people are going to be excited for this fight because outside of Conor McGregor, the whole time that Nate and Jorge were in the UFC, they were the biggest names. John Jones wasn't around during that time. He was on hiatus. Those two were the biggest names. Those two were the biggest draws when Conor and John Jones were out. Let's not forget that the biggest fight that happened in that period was their fight. So I'm like, yeah, why am I not smart enough to realize, yeah, UFC fans are going to come out and watch and support that fight for sure.
They are gonna support that fight for sure, and I'm getting the same education as you at almost at the same time as you, because yeah, we're there live in the space, and the questions are coming in just like you said, dude. And with that being said, short plug on the X platform, formerly Twitter. Join us on every UFC event and major combat sports event. Join us live, share the sport together, enjoy the fights together. Sean, dude, one, I didn't see what you're holding up. Was that? Do you want to share that, or was that a joke?
No, that was just a joke. But
Okay.
honestly, I do want to touch on what you
Shit.
guys were saying about the spaces. Join us on weekly on Sundays too. We do post fight clarity. It's kind of just our live show. It's what this is, but live, where we talk about week to week fights, not just hot topics. But back to what you were saying about Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal, right? Am I excited about it? Is it bigger than I thought? I was excited about it from the jump. Do you not think I was excited about it? What is this? A little Jorge Masvidal action figure, right?
Baby.
Your boy used to be a Jorge fan, right? Your boy was also a Nate Diaz fan, right?
Yeah.
Still am a Nate Diaz fan. This motherfucker, though, Stockton slap. I'm still in it. Fuck that motherfucker. I mean, even though I'm on the East Coast, I'm rocking with Nate. I'm still interested in this. I like the two guys. They entertain me. I was one of the few people tuned into that last press conference. I think everybody tuned out because Nate walked out of the past 5. But like, you know what? He did the same thing here, and a brawl broke out. And I was like, you know what? This is what I wanted. I wanted action from these motherfuckers. They I watched somebody talk about this. They're like, Nate Diaz rolls into a press conference with 30 dudes, right? There's no reason you roll into like a press conference or a weigh-in scenario with 30 dudes who look like they can scrap unless you're planning on scrapping. Like there's no, like they all show up every single time they go somewhere planning on scrapping. That's why I tune in. I am a fan of this. That leaves me to believe, hey, not only are we going to get a boxing match, we can get some fucking sideshows in the crowd too. So I will always be entertained when you get a Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal event, because these motherfuckers are unexpected. You get unexpected shit. And for the most part, they're both fucking game to go out there and throw fists. So, hey, I mean, it is what it is. We're not getting the MMA shit. We're not getting the bare knuckle stuff like you guys want it. But these guys are legends. They're going out there competing one more time. And like I said, fucking unexpectedness is prime with these two.
Definitely.
Don't drink Prime. It's bad for you kids. You'll die. You'll die.
Yes.
They're gonna sue you like they sued Ryan Garcia.
Prime is bad. Prime is bad. Yo, no, you nailed it, dude. I mean, these guys are entertainment. The part I really want to jump on is the rolling 30 deep, right? Like, if you don't have to worry about people starting problems if you're the people starting problems, right? Like, it's you take the ball out of their hands and then you have full control. It works that way. Me personally, dude, I'm a little shocked. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm a little shocked. I'm still kind of digesting what Ricky already understands, that these guys were the big stars in lieu of the sport's biggest stars, of the UFC's biggest stars. I get it. I just my brain just goes to that first part. Like, we saw what Nate does, and it's not great. And whatever, in the boxing ring, it's not great in boxing. But hey, I hope that all this spiciness, like you said, culminates to a real fight. Like Sean brought up, sometimes you pay for a few fights, you get one for free. Call back to a few episodes ago. And that's just, hopefully the people live get a really, really good show. I'll just say that, and we'll be tuning in for sure. All right. So those guys deserve our attention because of yesteryear. Some other guys deserve our attention because of what's coming up right now. But does he deserve a title shot? Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Israel Adesanya right now, and his return to the octagon, and of course his return to his, I don't know if this is nemesis yet, but like his rival now. I think it counts as a rival after all the words that were spoken between DDP and Adesanya. And man, that was one of the spicier in cage confrontations we've ever had, and honestly, one that I found a little distasteful. Not really something I don't really like, racial or religious or blah 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 stuff getting in the sport, really. So, like, I get it. He sold it. He made a moment. Everybody's on it. It's a fight. But the question that I'm asking the gentleman is: does Adesanya deserve a title fight? Like, does he deserve a title fight? Who wants to go first?
Sean needs to go first on this one. I'm sure he has a lot of feelings, a lot to say on this topic. So I'm letting Sean go first.
I'm pretty biased on this one, if you guys can't tell. I mean, like right down here, the name will go and tell you. I am for a certain guy in this division. I love this division, though. I've told you guys before, it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite divisions in the UFC. But let me just go on a little bit of a spiel here. Izzy, right, loses his belt to Alex Pereira at UFC 281. That's where this starts to me. Izzy had that reign going for a long time. People were saying he's boring. Gets his fucking rival. Loses that belt, right? Wins the immediate rematch versus Alex Pereira at UFC 287, right? Following that, he loses his belt again to Sean Strickland at UFC 293. So now he goes win, loss, right? This is a guy who's going back and forth, winning and losing. Izzy goes on a little spiel after the fight and goes, hey, I'm taking 7 years off, or whatever he said. Don't quote me on that. Maybe he said 4. He said he's taking a long fucking time off. I was believing. I was like, good for you, dude. Take some time off. Sean just kicked your ass. He'll probably do it again if you try to come back. Well, Sean Strickland gets robbed of the fucking title. Like, he goes and fights Dricus in Canada. These motherfuckers rob him. We all saw the fight. 1, 2, 3, 5 Strickland. Round 4, obviously, for Dricus, but these motherfuckers gifted it to Dricus. After that, Dricus sits around. Strickland fights Costa. But then, boom, where the fuck? Hold on. Izzy comes out of nowhere and he gets the Dricus title shot. I'm pissed off. I'm fucking mad. A lot of other people are mad. I see a lot of other people complaining about it. We're still riding off of this rant that I can't quote that Izzy went on in the octagon. I'll never be able to quote that rant. That's a rant that you
Quote it.
Hey, you guys, a lot of you guys will be in trouble. But listen, that pisses me off. Yeah, I'm joking around. Of course, I'm ride or die for Strickland, but at the end of the day, I'm not really biased. I know what fair is fair, but this shit is not fucking fair. I don't like it. I don't think it's cool. I think they're kind of just gifting it back. This is a fight though that can go either way. That being said, Izzy can beat Dricus. This isn't MMA math doesn't work like that. Just because Sean beat Izzy and Dricus beat Sean doesn't mean Dricus is going to beat Izzy now. You know what I mean? This doesn't work like that. So this is a good fight. Izzy can beat Dricus, get that title again. But do I think he deserves to be there? Fuck no.
Doesn't deserve to be there. He's very adamant about that.
Well, I am sorry to burst your bubble, Sean, but the UFC is not all on merit, right? The UFC is about dollars and cents. And if it ain't making dollars, it ain't making sense. And when you look at Israel Adesanya, he is the golden goose of that division. How is he the golden goose? Well, you tell me who should be in a title fight. You tell me who should be the one getting that rematch. Whoever you pick, combine them with the current champion, Izzy has more followers than all of them combined. That's why Israel Adesanya gets special treatment, because he's the golden goose. And it makes a lot of sense, because why would we want Izzy to potentially fight one of those guys? Either a rematch with Strickland or a fight with DDP, when we could play it out and set it up to where he has fights with both of those guys. Because if he goes out and beats Dricus, guess who's next? Sean Strickland, the rematch, to settle that score. So we're not going to have our golden goose just fight one when he could fight both. And then from there, he can move up and challenge Pereira again if you want. Whatever the case may be, yes, that's why Izzy gets special treatment, because at the end of the day, it's a business. And, you know, for Israel Adesanya, he's not a businessman. He's a businessman. And that's why Israel Adesanya gets the special treatment. So fair or unfair, it's smart, it's wise, it's exactly what the UFC should be doing. And for Sean Strickland, sit on your ass and take the next. You get winner, dude. You have complete reason why you should get winner. And after they feed the golden goose, then they go into merit, and Sean Strickland gets the winner of this fight easily.
Oh, I agree. You're making me see red there for a little bit. But no, I agree with you.
Fuck you, Sean. Fuck you, motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck you, Sean. Yeah, you know, like now that we're back, just want to clear that up, and I think we settled it. We both voted in that direction, and that's the end of it. So no, you guys have your feelings about it. I have mine, which is the same as yours. Basically, you know, I don't like it. I understand the business aspects and business applications and matchmaking applications, as Ricky pointed out. It makes sense, like ABC, like that. It really does. But from a fan's point of view, this is just my take, is like, yo, we were on the verge of the middleweight division being kind of shitty. Like, it was on the verge of getting iced out and being boring and all that other stuff that comes with a long reigning champion. And finally, not finally, but after a while, it's got a lot of life in it now. It's got a lot of storylines, got a lot of juice to it. And I just don't want the simple, easy ABC money grab that Ricky was talking about. I don't want that to put us in another middleweight ice age. Because like Sean was talking about, middleweight's hot. It's good again. I love when middleweight and up is hot. To me, those are my favorite weights. So I just don't want to see this division cool down again and kind of just fall into.
I don't think it does cool down again. And if we can touch on that real quick, I mean, yeah, I honestly think what just happened with Khamzat, even though, so we're just talking about Khamzat on our show. Look at Ikram coming up, jumping to the top of this division. He has a chance of doing something where he puts his name right at the top, right? Ikram's in the mix then. There's a bunch of other guys who are at that point where if more guys they jump in, take people's places, or they mess around, jump up there. This is the division again that's like even though it's hot with these couple guys mixing it around at the top right now, there's a few guys just waiting to jump in. There's a lot of like this division has some prospects that are ready to cook, I think.
It's not that I don't want to
bro.
see.
I just got a vision. I just got a vision. A vision hit me. Fucking seeing into the future here. I know exactly what's gonna happen next. Sean Strickland is fighting Khamzat Chimaev, and that's your number one contenders fight, if you will. It's happening.
That sucks.
That's not a main event. It's gonna be a co-main to some big pay-per-view, and so
let's just
unfortunately,
say
Sean Strickland's title shot gets screwed because of Khamzat.
I heard Sean Strickland can't go to Saudi Arabia and fucking Khamzat can't come to America. So we got to find a fucking middle ground for them to fight.
Hey, Sean might die if he goes to Saudi Arabia, bro. I don't know if they're gonna let the shit he says fly over there.
No, definitely not. His that wouldn't go well. But yeah, man. See, here's the thing. It's not that I don't want to see Izzy fight those guys. It's just that like I just don't want to see this turn into like, I don't know. I said my piece. Fuck it. Moving on from it. Who cares? There was a story that came across our faces, I guess. That was really interesting and just something that I thought was worth talking about. So we're gonna bring it up here. It was an interview done with Herb Dean. And why I want to bring this up is I feel often in our spaces that we, not say often, but like fairly regularly, months will go by and time will go by, and then someone will bring up one or more of the refs, their performances. Then inevitably, somehow, like the sunshine itself, it always comes back to Herb Dean. And I just gotta say that Herb Dean, like it or not, is the Conor McGregor of refs. Like he's the ref. He's the ref of everybody knows. He's the ref everybody fucking is quick to fucking say something about. Everybody has a Herb Dean memory. Brother's been reffing fights for 20 years. Okay? Like he's part of the culture. Everybody thinks about him. And it's crazy because some people have a high standard and opinion of him, which he is. He is very good. There's no denying that. There's no debating that. But just because some people once upon a time said he was the gold standard, and we know who we're talking about, thank you, Joe Rogan. And then everybody else that came with it, he gets a lot of random hate and whatever's. And I'm not here to go long into the whole ref thing per se, because it's a tough job, man. It's a real tough job. In this article or in this interview, he goes into talk about getting threatened by the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, and basically saying like he would get kind of ribbed by Chuck, like say he'd fuck up a call on a fight, and then later on, or some at a different fight, Chuck would be like, "Yeah, I seen what you did in that other fight, and if you fucking do that to me, I'll kick your ass." Like stuff like that. So like I never really thought that was even allowed. Like I didn't know fighters are allowed to verbally intimidate referees. So there's that. Second, there's a story about him, like obviously you're dealing with combat. Combat is happening, and he talks about the time DC punched him, which you don't really think about that stuff, right? You don't like think about this simple headline: DC punches Herb Dean, but in reality, it never really gets talked about or whatever. But he's talking about during him reffing him in the DC in the Jones fight. In the mix of that, he got hit. Blah 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 blah. So there's a lot of things that are going on into the ref's job and career that is wild to me. But the last part of this interview spoke volumes to me, and this is what I wanted to get the guy's thoughts and feelings about. So later on, he doesn't mention any name. Herb keeps it straight. He doesn't spill any beans. He doesn't mention any names, but he does give a little hint. And he says the refs, well, of course, they're competitive. You want fights, you want bookings, right? Like there is a competition to this. And we are friends. It is a good environment, but in all competition, there's friction. There's people who have beefs. And every once in a while, there's a little bit of betrayal and bullshittery. This is the part of the story that I'm really keyed in and focused on. The drama, the refs and beefs between refs themselves, trying to work up that hierarchy to get more cards and more fights. I'm sure it's a struggle because we all talk about it all the time. Hey, what the fuck? There's only like 10 refs in all of MMA. Well, those guys are all jockeying for position apparently, and just hearing that there's beefs and betrayals, guys, we've made jokes about this in the past. Would you want to see like an all refs UFC card?
Fuck yes.
Boom.
I've been lobbying it for a while now.
I'm with you. So, am I the only one that finds this refs having beefs with other refs extremely interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what the beefs would be, right? Like, they're all getting booked, they're all on cards, like who the big ones are, and like what are the beefs? Are the beefs like, I didn't like the way you ref that fight, I didn't like what you did, like I didn't is it money? Are they pocket watching? Are some refs getting paid like more than others and it's creating some jealousy to say, hey, we're all kind of switching up main events and shit, how come you're making more money than I am? Like, what is the beef? That's VH1, if you're still around, a fucking reality show with all the refs behind the scenes, follow them around, let them do a little show together, have them in the confessional, you know what I mean, where they're in there, have a fucking reunion hosted by Chuck Liddell at the end of the season. Like, let's put some shit together, man. Let's make it interesting, because now I want more details. At first, if you just told me on a little bit, I would have been like, I don't give a fuck about the refs. I care about the athletes. But now I'm interested. Now I want to see, man, what's going on. What is the issue that refs are having within themselves? Like, what could it possibly be? They're there to do the job. You're not there to worry about another ref and what he's doing. But now I just want to know what the beef is, where the jealousy and stuff is coming from.
I mean, the jealousy is clearly coming from, pecking order. Genuinely, like, who's taller. So I would want to see Keith Peterson versus Gary Copeland.
Yeah, you gotta do some weight. You gotta put some weight restrictions in there.
Yeah. That's what I'm.
I don't want to see Beltran beat the shit out of one of these little dudes. You know what I mean? It's not fun.
I mean, I do see this. But Sean, I know you're thinking about this a little bit at the very least, but there's got to be thought provoking to you too. Like, what beefs? Like, what refs have beef with each other, and what refs would you want to see fight?
Yeah, when I first looked at the little header at the bottom, I saw refs and beefs, and I was like, guys, it's Pride Month, but I don't want to talk about refs beefs and like, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I'm cool with the Gary Copeland versus no nonsense, and I'm also looking for Beltran versus Herb Dean. There's a lot of good fights to make in the ref division. These guys are probably jockeying for, I got the main event tonight. You saw me step in. Like, Herb Dean was definitely sending that elbow drop video he had on Poirier after the Gaethje fight around. Like, you saw this shit, like in the group chat. So like, I love to think in my head that they're out there looking for each other. Because like the past few times I went to a couple live UFC fights, the opener for this past one, I want to say, had Herb Dean as the ref, right? So they come out and go, the two names who were in the fight, and then they go the third man in the octagon, Herb Dean. And that lit the place up to more than the two names that they just announced that were fighting in the fight. So that just goes to show how much attention that Herb Dean gets. So he's getting a louder pop than the two fighters in the opener. It's probably most of the early prelims on a pay-per-view.
Maybe they're jealous of the Joe Rogan shit too. I think Herb is the only ref that's been on Joe Rogan that has done like podcasts and been brought into the celebrity. And Joe kind of fucked him with that label of like the golden standard. Listen, anytime you're anointed as the best, you're immediately told how you're not the best. As soon as somebody anoints you as the best, the spotlight's on you, and everyone's like, nope, I have 5 million examples on why this guy sucks. But it's like, if Joe Rogan just never said he was the best, everyone would be like, yeah, everything's cool. Like, he messes up sometimes. It is what it is. But because he gave him that, like, you're the best title, now everything he does is just under a microscope, and every mistake he makes is so much bigger than the mistakes of every other ref. Every other ref, they make a mistake, it's like, it's a tough job, man. It's a tough job to have. It sucks to be in that position. When Herb Dean makes a mistake, it's like, man, this guy sucks. Everyone likes him so much. Everyone thinks he's great. He's terrible. I feel bad for Herb, honestly.
dude, and that's another thing. I didn't really compute until I read that article that he's been doing this shit 20 years. I know he's been around a long ass time. I know that.
Yeah.
But when you talk about 20 years, you've been watching somebody work, watching somebody do their thing for 20 years. Like, bro, I remember we bring up goofball shit that happens between us from a couple months ago or whatever. Like, we have 20 years of Herb Dean memories. So it's easy, I think, for people to just collect them all in this big strand of memories. Be like, Herb Dean fucks up. It's like, dude, you're remembering something from fucking 12 years ago.
Let
Oh,
me
yeah.
just say to people, imagine your job, right, was in front of fucking everybody in the fucking world. And not only that, you're in front of a live audience, tens of thousands of people in the crowd, on a stage in the fucking center, and there's no way out besides they're watching you, and you're in there for sometimes 25 minutes at a pop. People's eyes are on you at all times. So, like, listen, if I was out there in that situation doing what Herb's doing, I'd be stumbling over my feet or doing something fucked up. I know that for a fact. So I cut the guy some slack when it's due. But listen, if there's like a bad stoppage, we're all going to say something for the time being. But I kind of dial it back unless it becomes repetitive from somebody. It's hard to knock these guys.
Fair enough. Well, still looking forward to UFC refs fighting each other in the future. Hopefully some drama spills out later down the line and we get to find out what the real mess was. But we're at that time where we say thank you. Thank you to everybody watching now and in the future. Thank you to everybody who shows up during our post-fight clarity, which is on Sundays, 2:00 Eastern time, where we take everything we digested of viewing through the combat sports menu all week up to that point and just kind of process it all and share your thoughts and the meanings of those fights. Join us live once again, Sundays, 2:00 on the X platform Eastern time. And every major sporting event, every major combat sporting event, I should say, and UFC event, join us on the X platform. Guys, you're hitting it so early. Boys, Ricky, Sean, gonna go to you guys. Ricky, what you thankful for, bro?
Thankful for everything, man. Thankful for VH1 hiring me for the new season of Herb's House, where it's all the refs inside of one house, and you just go along their careers, man. You get some drama, some fucking wrestling, throw some alcohol and some girls in there. Let's see what happens.
I heard it smells like alcohol and cigarettes.
It smells like Keith Peterson.
Oh, Sean smells like Keith Peterson sometimes. What did I just say?
Whoa.
Sean, what?
Yeah, dude.
I'll take that.
Sometimes do. I'll take that. Listen, I'm ready for another week next week. We got fun shit coming up Sunday. Every Sunday, check us out. Live show, Twitter. Find our handles. It's always in the corner of the screen down here. You can find our handles. Check us out. We go live on Sundays, post-fight clarity. On Saturdays, we talk about the fights. Come join us. Come chat. Leave your comments. Pop in and talk with us. We'll talk with you, talk about the fights. We got more stuff to come. We got guests coming up soon. Did a couple internal episodes, but we're firing back next week. Rob, what do you got to say?
I'm going to say that I'm appreciative of Ricky's face right now. That shit was hilarious. And you know what? What is this? I'll just fumble real hard at the very end there and just say, what else is there to say other than thank you two boys for making this fun and enjoyable to do. And thank everybody once again. See you guys soon. It's been a good time. See you next time. All right.